The Daytona International Speedway is the scene each year of two of NASCAR's biggest events on the Grand National Circuit, the Daytona 500 in February and the Firecracker 400 in July. Today we're here for the Midsummer Classic, and it promises to be a scorcher both in terms of weather and competition. Hello everybody, I'm Bill Fleming, and together with Chris Economaki, we'll be covering the action here in the Firecracker for you. I don't believe we've ever come to Daytona when we've had more good stories, more elements at work. For instance, the pole sitter today, Neil Bonnet, didn't even have a ride 3 weeks ago, and all he did this week was to go out and run 187 plus miles per hour. Then, of course, A.J. Foyt is here, hoping that he wins his fourth Daytona race in the year that he won his fourth Indy 500. Cale Yarborough, outside position of the first row, is locked in a point battle with Richard Petty, and of course, Cale has won 7 races so far this year on the NASCAR circuit. There are also 3 women in the race today. That is a first on the Speedway. Janet Guthrie, of course, whom you all know, is in 20th starting position, and a couple of Europeans are here for the first time today, Leila Lombardi of Italy and Christina Beckers of Belgium. And we also have a pretty good race going for the Rookie of the Year honors between Sam Summers and Ricky Rudd. So those are just a few of the things that could be developing here today, but let's call in Chris Economaki, the editor of National Speed Sport News, to give us a rundown on his thoughts. So, Chris, I don't know whether you want to amplify those or whether you have some of your own you've discovered today.
I tell you, heat is going to be a story, and my big question in my mind, Bill, is whether Chris Economaki is going to be around to make it to victory lane. It's really hot. A late-breaking story. Neil Bonnet, the pole winner. They had some trouble with the engine last night. They fixed it. They came out to the track this morning. They found number 3 cylinder full of oil. They haven't had time to do a thorough repair job. They slapped it together. Neil Bonnet says it's questionable, but the heat is really the prime factor here. It's oppressively hot today, and the drivers are going to feel it. You know, they wear these heavy uniforms to protect against fire, and I think we're going to see a lot of relief drivers asked for before it's all over.
Let's hope we don't have any relief drivers in the pit for you.
I hope not.
All right, the cars are on the track, so let's set the field. On the inside, the pole sitter, Neil Bonnet in a Dodge, and next to him, Cale Yarborough in his number 11 Chevrolet. Then in the second row, it's Benny Parsons on the inside. Next to him, Ron Hutcherson of Keokuk, Iowa. Row 3, Richard Petty in the famous 43 Dodge. A.J. Foyt in his Gilmore Chevrolet next to him. Sam Summers in the 4th row. And next to him, Donnie Allison. In the 5th row, Bobby Allison's Matador on the inside. Terry Ryan, a rookie from Davenport, Iowa, on the outside. Bruce Hill in the 6th row on the inside. Number 88, Darrell Waltrip outside him. Then in the 7th row on the inside is Ty Scott, and outside of him, number 21, the famous Mercury put in the field by David Pearson. Now, let's take a look at the rest of the field as we are getting close to a start here now. Back in the 10th row, car number 68 is Janet Guthrie. Then we look back on through the 15th row, Leila Lombardi. Buddy Baker is in the 16th row. And finally, Christine Beckers is in the 19th row. And now the cars, all 41, are started, and it looks like we're going to get a green flag here.
Bill, the clouds have just come over the track. It's almost on signal. The sun is out of the way, and this will be a break for everyone.
All right, here we go, and we have a green flag. Watch car number 5, Neil Bonnet, the pole sitter, as he takes the lead. Oops, he slows down, and now Cale Yarborough has the lead. Benny Parsons cuts inside, as to a number of other cars, and I do believe that Neil Bonnet has got a major problem there. As you can see him in the middle of the pack, slowed way down. And there goes Cale Yarborough, chased by A.J. Foyt, Donnie Allison, and as they move down into turn number 2, it's Ron Hutcherson moving into the 4th spot. I think you had the story there, Chris.
I think the driver showed great professionalism. Bonnet stayed right where he was supposed to stay, and everybody drove around him. No episode. It could have been bad, but the car wouldn't get off the line.
And now A.J. Foyt is in the lead in car number 51, followed by Donnie Allison in car number 1. As they will come by the grandstand for the first time. And the pole sitter, Neil Bonnet, is way back in the pack. And here is Donnie Allison challenging A.J. right in front of the grandstand. Allison down low. And A.J. hangs on to the lead with Cale Yarborough there in 3rd place. As they whiz by our camera, you can see that they are really moving that first lap at better than 175 miles an hour. And side by side is Donnie Allison on the inside, car number 1. A.J. Foyt, number 51, outside him. Cale Yarborough right behind, and Richard Petty has moved into 4th.
Here comes Cale on the inside, and Foyt is having one of his raciest years. He's been commuting back and forth here at Daytona to Canada. He raced up there yesterday and won an Indianapolis car race, and he's really going strong this year. Now Cale is out in front, and is he ever having a big season?
Cale, the current money leader, the point standing leader in the Grand National Championship, in the lead. Right behind him is AJ, and then right behind him is the man that's chasing him in both points and money. That, of course, is Richard Petty. Darrell Waltrip in car number 88 has moved into the fourth spot. Donnie Allison holding on there in fifth. And again, we'll mention the pole sitter Neil Bonnet is way back in the pack. Undoubtedly had mechanical problems at the start of the race. But right now, it's A.J. Foyt. Outside him is Cale Yarborough. And right behind Cale, right at his draft, is Richard Petty in car number 43.
And here's A.J. Foyt is stuck on the inside. They're going by him like a mail train. There's no room for him to cut into the draft. He has to let them all get by. It's a tough break for A.J.
Okay, very good point as the cars string out now. And there's the pole sitter, Neil Bonnet, car number 5, way back now. Look how far it is from him to the leaders.
27th place, Bill. He dropped 26 positions in one lap.
And now as they swing by, it is Cale Yarborough in the lead, Richard Petty right behind him, Darrell Waltrip down low, and Donnie Allison behind him. So we're underway with the Firecracker 400 on a hot day here in Daytona. We'll be back in just a moment. Well, 2 cars are out of the race. D.K. Ulrich is out. He was the first to go, and Janet Guthrie has pulled her car behind pit wall, apparently with a mechanical problem that can't be solved, so Janet is out of the race. And right now, it's Darrell Waltrip in car number 88, passing Richard Petty in car number 43 for the lead. Number 11 is Cale Yarborough right behind him, and then comes Donnie Allison, then Benny Parsons, A.J. Foyt. We look back there, we also see that David Pearson has moved up, and here is Petty regaining the lead from Darrell Waltrip. It's been going back and forth. We must have had at least a dozen lead changes here in the very early going. Speeds at better than 180 miles an hour. It's an extremely hot day here in Daytona. The sun beating down on the track. Temperature above 90 degrees, and of course it makes the track temperatures about 130, and heaven knows how hot it is inside those cars. Because of that, naturally, it has its effect upon the drivers. And so let's join Chris Economaki for a moment to talk about that particular heat problem.
Back in the early days of auto racing, when more speed was needed, the mechanics lifted the hood and did something to the car. And then they found out that by talking to the driver, they may get some more speed. And then came the technological age of chassis adjustments to make the car work better. Now they're back with the driver, making him more comfortable. This may win the Firecracker 400. It's a cool hat. This is a skull cap that fits under Cale Yarborough's helmet with little capillary tubes running through it that carry a cooling fluid that is introduced to one of these lines and returned through another. There's a tank in the car where this refrigerated fluid is there to keep his head cool. And as Cale Yarborough says, the man with a cool head should win the race. We'll know in a little while.
All right, Chris, a cool head and a hot foot. Maybe someday somebody will devise something to put on that foot that pushes down on the accelerator to cool it off a little bit. Right now, it's Darrell Waltrip in the lead. Richard Petty right behind him, and back in 6th and 7th, Bobby Allison in car number 12 of the Matador, and David Pearson right in there, battling, as you can see, for the lead. We've got 8 cars bunched right up here, any one of whom could slingshot right into the lead at any given moment. Darrell Waltrip has it right now. Last year, he won his first Grand National race at Martinsville. Started off this year with a bang. He won the Rebel 500 at Darlington, then took the Talladega 500, and look at David Pearson move.
Bill, David was 4 miles an hour off the pace in qualifying. He started 14th, but when there's other cars on the track, this master of drafting, and that's using the suction created by the cars ahead, has come up among the leaders. We've got this group of 9 cars out in front. It's the first echelon. They've moved away from the other cars, and any one of these fellows can win it today.
Darrell Waltrip in the lead right now, already has won $122,000 this year, and Cale Yarborough right behind him has won $232,000, and Richard Petty is no slouch at the bank either.
No, there's a lot of money being made. From a brand standpoint, it's interesting. We have a Dodge, a Mercury, and a Matador in this first group of cars. The rest are all those hot Chevys.
All right, and taking the lead on the number 1 turn is Cale Yarborough, the current money leader and point leader of the circuit. And say, look at Benny Parsons in car number 72, who has sneaked up there into 3rd.
Oh, Parsons has really come a long ways. He's broadening his horizons as a professional racing driver, doing some road racing and becoming better all the time.
So Cale Yarborough, the defending 400 champion, in his number 11 Chevy, has 7 wins this season. The Daytona 500, the Richmond 400, the Staley 400, the Southeastern and Virginia 500s, the Mason-Dixon 500, the Michigan 400. No wonder he's the leading money winner. 7 wins in 15 starts. And you know, Chris, something I think is really important. He has led more laps, more than double anybody else this year. Over 2,000 laps he's led.
Cale is not one to lay back and wait till the end of the race to make a move. He likes it out front, and he drives out front, and, you know, it's tough on the equipment. There's Pearson even passing Petty, who's said by the fellow drivers to have the strongest car on the track today.
And now Darrell Waltrip challenging Cale Yarborough, and Waltrip goes by him, and look at Benny Parsons coming right up in the draft there. And it looks all of a sudden, Cale, as if he's going to go from first to third. Nope, he squeezes Parsons off and hangs on to second. Well, it's a long afternoon here at Daytona. And, of course, heat gets to both men and equipment. And now in the pits, we have the car of Layla Lombardi getting new rubber.
She's got a lot of problems. She says that the clutch isn't working, Bill. They're going to try and make some clutch adjustments in addition to giving her some new tires.
Okay, as I reported earlier, Janet Guthrie is already out of the race. Layla Lombardi having a little bit of trouble, but Christine Beckers in car number 93 is still out there and running pretty good. There is Cale going by Darrell Waltrip for the lead. So it's back and forth here at the Firecracker 400, and we'll be back with more of the action in just a moment. Darrell Waltrip still in the lead, Cale Yarborough following him, but car number 12, the Matador, driven by Bobby Allison, has moved up into third. This track has been kind of a jinx for Bobby. He's never won a race here at Daytona, and he certainly doesn't want a repeat of last year. As far as the circuit is concerned, for the first time in 11 years, he failed to win a race.
That's a far cry from a few seasons ago when he was really king of the road, Bill. You know, the track in July here is much different than it is in February. Because of the heat, it's slippery, and the mechanics have to set the chassis up entirely different for this race than they do in the February Classic. Another factor that's affecting competition today is aerodynamics. The Ford drivers say their cars are too big to be competitive. The fastest Ford was 30th. Buddy Baker started back in 31st position. He's now back racing with Sam Summers in 10th and 11th position, a long way behind the leaders. There they are there. And Baker's really complaining about coming to the racetrack and not having any chance to win. Look at the interval between the 10th and 11th place drivers and this first echelon, this mail train of 9 cars right up front.
The lead group of cars coming up on some slower traffic, which has to give way to the left as the faster cars go up on the outside. It's Darrell Waltrip in the lead, Cale Yarborough in second place. Bobby Allison is now in third, then David Pearson, Benny Parsons, Richard Petty, A.J. Foyt, Donnie Allison, all within striking distance of the leader, Darrell Waltrip. We're going to take a break from the Firecracker 400 right now. We'll be returning here shortly. It's time to join Frank Gifford at the NCAA Lacrosse Championship at the University of Virginia. Bill Fleming along with Chris Economaki back at the Firecracker 400, and car number 43, Richard Petty, is running out in front of the field almost by himself. He's got about a 5-second lead on the second group of cars, and in that second group, Cale Yarborough, car number 11, Benny Parsons right behind him, and there goes Benny Parsons challenging for second place, and a little blue smoke coming out of the back of Benny's car.
You know, it's amazing, Bill, that the top drivers are still in it as hard as they're pushing these cars. The attrition rate has been very low. All the stars are still here, and they're giving these engines tremendous torture, put to the floor all the way around. It's time some engines blew.
And you can take a look at the cars that are out of the race so far. Parsons being challenged by Cale Yarborough, and David Pearson is right behind. Tough luck about Christine Beckers being out. That means that only one woman driver is still in the race. That's Layla Lombardi.
You know, Christine had a piece of debris cut a brake line, and she had absolutely no brakes, which put her out. Layla Lombardi, who speaks very little English, has tremendous trouble communicating with her pit. She's made several pit stops, and she's got a sign on the dashboard in Italian. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 is heat, 2 is tires, 3 is oil, 4 is something else, and 5 is herself. And she holds up a number of fingers as she goes by the pits to tell them what the trouble is. It's really almost a comic opera down there.
Here is Richard Petty, car number 43, coming by, and his lead now is about 6 seconds over that second group of cars, and they're going to start coming into some of the traffic right now. So Richard really has that 43 Dodge purring just like he wants it.
Petty has really got this racetrack figure. He rides very high. He likes to ride the rim. And the strength of the car is bedazzling because he's going extremely fast and he never lifts an Cale Yarborough down on the apron. It's not time for a pit stop for Cale.
You know, when his car went by the grandstand the last time, it sounded, Chris, like it popped out of gear. So the major problem for Cale Yarborough, Darrell Waltrip, we might add, has also dropped back. So we'll be back in just a moment. A little bit of the pressure has been taken off Richard Petty's back because Cale Yarborough's car has been wheeled back to the garage. They're going to make some transmission repairs. Gives us an opportunity to talk about Richard Petty up close and personal. Well, Chris, you really have to hand it to the crew of Junior Johnson. They've got Cale Yarborough running again.
Well, they lost 12 laps fixing the transmission, but Cale said that the kind of work they do when he has trouble won him the championship last year. The points you get way down the line, he wouldn't have been champion had it not they changed engines and done repairs like that throughout last season.
Well, we remember Darlington when they took the entire transmission out, and it cost him 43 minutes. Here's the man in car number 43. Richard Petty, and we have just been notified that a thunderstorm or thunder shower is approaching the backstretch. Now, at the bottom of your picture, you'll see the time interval between Richard Petty and David Pearson, the number 2 car. There he is, going right by. He's in second place. But as we look down there now, we see it is raining off of turn number 2, and there's a little bit of water coming up from under the wheels of David Pearson.
They've just put the yellow light on, Bill. There it is on the backstretch. The shower's hitting the back straightaway, and with these slick tires, a 3,800-pound car cannot race safely on a wet racetrack.
Well, they can do one of two things. They can run it under the yellow for a while, hoping that it's not going to be serious, or if it gets really bad, they can put it under the red. But as you can see, Richard is racing in sunlight, but over on the backstretch, the clouds are very dark, and over in turn 2, it looks like it's really coming down.
Well, it looks now that the way the rain is, it's really pouring down out there. I hope no one spins because the track is really slippery, Bill.
Here's the interesting thing. We've completed 81 laps. That's more than halfway. So now they're coming in, and it looks like we have a red flag. They are going to halt the race and bring the cars in. And you can see why. It's a regular trout stream back there, and it looks like it's going to be quite a delay. We will be back, however, with more of the Firecracker 400 when weather conditions permit. But there are lots of interesting things going on today in the wide world of sports. Bill Fleming along with Chris Economaki, and we're very happy to report here at the Daytona International Speedway that the rain has stopped and they are racing under the green once again in the Firecracker 400. However, they did have to go 22 laps under the yellow once they restarted the race in order to dry the track out. But we have nothing but sunshine right now and a pretty good race going on. Car number 72, Benny Parsons, right there on the right of your screen, was leading until just a second ago when you saw Darrell Waltrip pass him. But Parsons is slowing down to make what he hopes to be the final pit stop of the day. Waltrip has yet to make his final pit stop, and more significantly, Richard Petty has made his final pit stop, and he did a beauty. 14.2 seconds for rubber on the right side and fuel. So here comes Benny Parsons, who has to have a good fast stop here in order to have any hopes of winning. Chris?
Okay, Benny Parsons is in the pits now for the most crucial of his stops, the last one. Right side tires, fuel, a windshield cleaning job, and this is where the pitmen are at their crucial best. They can win it or lose it for him right here. He's hooked up in a tremendous duel with Darrell Waltrip for the lead in this competition. Gets just enough fuel to go the rest of the way, and on he goes. Back to you, Bill.
All right, Chris, that was 19 seconds for Benny Parsons, and now it'll be interesting to see what Darrell Waltrip does because he's coming into pit row, Chris. Waltrip is coming in now, and that means that Richard Petty has regained the lead that he lost there temporarily.
Okay, here's Waltrip, and his crew is out there ready. They're going to change right side tires and gas up the car. They can change tires just as quick as it takes to fuel the car. Let's see how fast the men work. He's getting his windshield cleaned as well, and the youngster from Franklin, Tennessee is waiting to go back on the track. A little bit of a delay on the right rear, and that looked like a faster stop than Benny Parsons' crew gave him.
Well, you're right, Chris. It was 15 and a half seconds. That is 3.5 seconds faster than Benny Parsons, but it's a little over a second slower than Richard Petty's. So Richard is really in good shape right now. According to our figures, he's about 15 seconds ahead of Waltrip.
With the last pit stops out of the way, Bill, we've got 7 cars in the same lap. Petty, Waltrip, Parsons, Pearson, Foyt, Donnie Allison, and Buddy Baker's made it. It's going to be a good finish.
Any report on Bobby or an AJ? Do they have problems?
Bobby Allison is still a good many laps down with engine problems, and AJ's in that same lap, but at the tail end of it.
So there you saw a shot of Waltrip on the backstretch, and there's Parsons and Pearson chasing him. We'll be back in just a moment. And he will get the white flag as he comes by with 1 lap to go. Chris, you want to make a comment here before you head toward victory lane?
Well, I think that Cale Yarborough's coming back has preserved his point lead by probably a very slim margin. Petty certainly would have taken the point lead had Yarborough remained in the garage.
Okay, Richard Petty has 3/4 of a lap to go before he pulls into victory lane. He can almost coast in from here. The way we have it figured out is that Richard Petty, who was 103 points down to Cale Yarborough coming into this race, is going to pick up 85 or 90 points. It's going to be probably somewhere between 10 and 15 points difference at the end of this race. And now everybody's standing, a lot of Petty fans here today, naturally. This will be the 185th victory in Richard Petty's long and illustrious career, more than any other driver. The checkered flag is out for him, and here it is, the winner of the Firecracker 400. Incidentally, that ties him with David Pearson for Super Speedway wins with 44. Here is 88, Darrell Waltrip, who will be the second place finisher. And a pretty good race for third and fourth. Benny Parsons nipping David Pearson for third, so Pearson will finish fourth. And as mentioned, Cale Yarborough, who is 12 laps down, still was running at the end of the race. A.J. Foyt, fifth, as Richard pulls into victory lane. Donnie Allison, sixth, and Buddy Baker, seventh, all running in the same lap. And so now it's all happiness for car number 43, his crew. Let's get out of Chris Economaki in victory lane. Chris?
Well, Richard, by winning, you've got over $200,000 in prize money this year, and another championship looks like it might be along the way. Pleased at that, I'm sure.
Well, I tell you, it's going to be a long, hard road for that championship. Cale had a bad break today, but, you know, we're still a little bit behind. But if we can keep having good days like today, we can catch up.